What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Marcel P. Black. This is the Really Out Here podcast. It's been a long time. Should have left you without a dope pod to rep to. Season 2 took a long hiatus. Everybody knows I moved and you know what I'm saying, and you know, just been readjusting. So it's been a while since I've actually done a Really Out Here podcast, but we back in no other way, you know what I'm saying, what I want to bring Really Out Here podcast and talking to this brother right here. He got a lot of names, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let him introduce himself. I know him as Doc Asad, you know what I'm saying? How you doing, good brother?
Peace, family. How are you today, brothers? It is absolute pleasure to be on here, brother. First of all, let me say, I know we're going to talk about examining rap, but I'm a fan of your music. I feel fortunate that you had, in the past, you have sent me some of your music to listen to, and I appreciate your take on hip hop. But introduce myself. I'm Brother Asad, Dr. Asad, however,
You better rep that PhD, man. Rep that
yeah,
PhD,
yeah,
man. Come on, man.
right. So so I am a native New Orleanian. I'm 43 years old. I'm a father and a husband. And I'm a researcher by both profession and just I guess hobby. I'm here because I guess recently I've made some comments about rap music that have, sparked a conversation. I'm not going to say put people in their feelings and all that, because I've had a lot of people say, "Hey, Doc, what you said is right. I agree." And I've had some people say, "Wait, well, this is another alternative. Look at it this way," or whatever have you. But I think my ultimate goal is for us to examine rap, to turn a critical and analytical eye towards rap music and what it has become, and not idealistically what it could be, but what is it as we see it today, as it presents today. So I thank you for allowing me to be on your show, brother.
Absolutely. And I'm looking, and this polo shirt I got on is the same. That has the same logo as the sweater on the picture. So if y'all see it going in and out, you know, it's just whatever. It's the same. Whatever. I didn't try to do that.
I know you come in peace because you are a man of the polo club.
There we go. It's
It's
Ralph
not
out
too
there
many
every day.
people who have that level of affinity for the horse like I do. And
Hey, bro.
I
Hey,
know when
bro.
I see your post, I say, that boy, I got that polo on.
Hey,
He's special.
look. So my school is 98% Latino, right? And so they're
Yeah.
not really up on polo. But I made it a special point. I wear at least 2 pieces of polo every single day. But I make a special point to wear polo every day, and I rep on it. And so today I had on the shirt. It said Ralph Lauren on it. They don't know no better. They was like, "What the polo at, Mr. Williams?" I like, "It's Ralph Lauren." Like, no, that's Ralph. Like that. They didn't know, but any day it looks so. My wife made me a dashiki, right? And of course,
Yeah.
it's not polo. And so I have a red, black, and green polo pin. Like, because you slip it. I said, no, you didn't. So every single day is on there. But
Oh yeah.
so for people who's been watching my YouTube channel, Doc absolutely came on. He was part of my Everything I Love podcast, and he interviewed me about a couple of my songs or whatever. So we absolutely, Doc is one of them cats where you see him say something on Facebook, but like I like to hop in his messenger and have a conversation because
Facts.
like because it's just better that way. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Facebook get a little messy every now and then, but like so it's and that's honestly like how we got here. So my first question every time I have somebody on the Really Out Your podcast, I ask them, do you remember how we first met?
I remember you. I don't know if it was when we first met, but I started following you because I'm a poet before I was anything. Before I was anything, and you were down with brother the phenomenal and illustrious poet Donnie Rose. So I remember you from the Baton Rouge era and area. So I think I just happened to bump into you on Facebook, and I think we had a dialogue about some things. Maybe some capitalism we had a conversation about, and some socialism and stuff like that. And I said, this is an intelligent brother. I said, this is
Right.
an intelligent brother, and I really didn't know that you were rapping. And then I heard some of your music. I said, oh yeah, this brother's on it. And if I could take a style of rap and a content of rap and mass market it, it would be somebody like yourself who is
Thank you,
using
man.
rap
Thank you.
as a platform to talk about serious. I mean, brother, you had a song about, I know it's a sense of topic about the passing of your father. You had a song about loving your wife. That's reality rap.
Mm-hmm.
You follow? That's reality rap, not the stuff that we hear when we have, as Dead Prez would say, poor folks got all the dough. That's not
Right,
the
right, right,
reality.
right, right. Right.
But yeah, I think that's why I think I bumped into you on Facebook.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I remember one of the first conversations we had. We was talking about we had a difference of opinion on the usage of the word hotep being used pejoratively.
Oh
And at the
yeah,
time, I mean, bro, you bald head with the beard. I thought you was Egyptian. Remember, I asked you that. I asked you,
he
was you
did.
Egyptian?
Yeah,
You said, nah, I'm a New Orleans nigga. And then, like, you know what I'm saying? But yes, I mean, yes. So that's like the first time I really meant, like, I remember having like, okay, let me ask, because we was conversing on the status, but I was like, you know what? Let me ask him a question, whatever. So yeah, so yeah, I remember that conversation, whatever. But look, so
yeah.
look, we can go. Let me see. All right, so just I like to put everything in context, right? So in a couple of minutes or so, tell us about your upbringing in New Orleans, and then I love to when you got them P's and H's and D's next to your name, I love for brothers to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
if you can in a couple minutes, tell me about your upbringing coming up in New Orleans, what it was like, especially coming up in the '90s and the '80s and the early 2000s in
Yeah,
New Orleans, and then
yeah.
tell us how you got to where you are as a doctor.
Okay, so I grew up with, unlike a lot of young Black men, I had a mom and dad in the house. My dad is a minister, and my mother is a school teacher. She taught 40 years in Jefferson Parish. She was a part of the first group of Black teachers to integrate Jefferson Parish. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I grew up a church boy. We went to church Wednesday for Bible study. We went to church at least 3 times a day on Sunday, following behind my
Mm-hmm.
daddy, preaching at several different places. I grew up, born in New Orleans, grew up in the suburbs, though, in a relatively middle class upbringing. Uh, you know, we had a pretty nice house, pretty decent life. Um, when I went to high school, I was always known to be a pretty, I guess you would say, lively guy. I always had a lot of friends, always had a big mouth, always had something to say. Um, I went to my first year of college at a university called, at the time it was called a University of Southwestern Louisiana. It was in Lafayette, now it's called ULL. I was there for a semester before I was expelled and arrested on gun charges.
Mm.
Um, I left there, and by the grace of God, that case was refused by the district attorney in Lafayette, and I went to Dillard University. I stayed at Dillard University. I graduated. I met my wife there. Um, and I did not go to graduate school immediately. I was not interested in school. I was thinking about being a poet. And so for a long time, all through college and probably up until even after Hurricane Katrina, I was into doing spoken word, and I would perform around the city, ran a couple of venues. That's definitely how I know Donnie Rose. That's how I knew his cousin Peaches, who I was very close with. May she rest in peace.
Yeah, man,
And
rest in peace. God bless her soul.
bless her soul. And so I made my name on the poetry scene. I'll tell you the story. What made me go back to university around, it's a couple of things, but around 2013, I lost my job. I was a permanent state employee, making decent money, whatever have you. Bobby Jindal closed my agency. And at the time, I had also had a coffee shop and a lawn care business. I said, man, I kind of put myself in a tough position here. I know I need to go back and get enough qualifications so I can always be in a position that my brain can work for me and that no one can really control. Even if I lose a job, I'm much more marketable to get something, and I'll always have different streams of income. So I had a whole lot of thoughts and a whole lot of revelations in 2013. So I talked to my line brother. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, and I talked to my line who at the time had just graduated with his Ed.D. And I said, brother, I'm thinking about going back to school. I'm thinking about, at the time just getting a master's. He's like, I'm thinking about getting a master's in something. And he said, man, go for your PhD or go for your doctorate, whether it's a PhD, Ed.D., whatever I was going to decide at the time. I'm like, bro, I don't know if I had time to do all that. He said, bro, 6 years gonna pass and you could have it, or 6 years will pass and you won't. I said, well, that's a thought there. So I said, okay, cool. So I started working on my master's. I was accepted into Columbia International University, started working on my master's, completed my master's thesis. And when I wrote my thesis, my advisor looked at the thesis. He said, man, you're going to apply to the PhD program. I said, well, I don't know. He said, no, I'm not telling you. I mean, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. You're going to apply. This is PhD level work that you have turned in here. And I said, okay. So with that type of encouragement, I was, sometimes we have inferiority complexes, right? And I really didn't think I was PhD material, right? And then to have this white man, this who is this white man, really, who's not a, if it would have come from somebody else, I would have thought they were just appeasing me, making me feel good boy type stuff. But this white man was looking and he was critical. He was a pretty hard professor. And when he said that, it was like something in me. I know this seems so strange, but there's something in me say, oh man, maybe I should take this seriously, So I applied and I knew that with him, with his backing, that I probably would not have a problem getting into the program. Got into the program, did my research. My dissertation was on a cultural anthropological examination of the use of scripture and the clinical practice of cognitive behavioral therapy, and which is just a whole lot of mumble jumble. For those who know, they know. For those who don't, it's really not that important. And now I have a couple of jobs, a couple of things that I do. I'm the program director for the Outpatient Competency Restoration Program here in Orleans Parish that covers Region 1. That's Jefferson and Orleans Parish. I work for another organization that is kind of dedicated to criminal justice reform. I'm a specialist and a researcher for them. And then most recently, I was asked to be a research associate with the University of Witwatersrand in South Africa. Hence, why I am moving to South Africa. So that was a very long intro. And I apologize. And you asked me a second question.
It's important. No, I mean that was it. You wrapped it all up. That was important. Cool. It's important, especially brothers in hip hop, brothers our age. Like it's important that we hear this thing, especially like that you decided to go back and get your PhD when you was older. You know what I'm saying? You was already grown, already established, already had a career, and like that's powerful. Saying, hey man, either 6 years gonna pass, you got it, or you don't. You know what I'm saying? So, even me, like I should have, I wish I am going back to school. I'm 38. I am going back to school. I'm not sure yet. I accepted a job as a social studies teacher. And like, I don't want to do this forever. Like, I really want to teach hip hop. Right. But and so I want to get the letters behind it. You know what I mean? So, I got, just doing whatever. And plus, like, I wasn't the best college student because I was one of the people who moved off of campus as like a sophomore. And like I'm working and stuff. So like I could have been like now, 20 years later, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm really I know if I go back to school, I'm gonna do really well because I'm older, I'm more established, and like I'm
You're
ready.
Serious.
I'm serious. I'm locked in, whatever. So something I'm definitely gonna do, within the next year or so. So no, but I appreciate that, and I think whoever's listening, like it's important to hear that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Nice. You had a situation to where you could have been incarcerated. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying, by the grace of Allah, you was able to shake back and now you hold doctor and a loving husband and father. So yeah.
And I mentioned that usually I don't put that in my bio. Some people know, some people don't. But I think it's germane to this conversation and will be later on. Why would a middle class African American with a mother and father in the house who was, wearing Gucci link bracelets and had a car at 15 and 16 years old. Why would I have anything to do with gun and drugs? Why?
That's
Yeah.
we absolutely gonna come back to that. All right, so we got the autobiographical stuff. So now I want to get into like get a little bit more biographical as it returns to hip hop. So it's a two-part question. How did you, growing up in New Orleans, how did you get into hip hop? And the second question is, who were your favorite rappers when you were 15?
Oh, that's easy. Let's start right there. Tupac was my favorite rapper. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Tupac absolutely was my favorite rapper when I was 15. He's probably my favorite rapper when I was 25. You know, I at 18 and 19 years old, I began to smoke cigarettes. And the brand of cigarettes I chose to smoke was Newport, because Tupac smoked Newports. When I had my first drink, my second drink, right? And see, I can think of these things because I was never a heavy drinker. But when my first drink was at 18 years old, and a friend of mine, my best friend, a guy named Noel, he took me to a Hispanic club because he was a Hispanic brother. And he took me to a Hispanic club, and I had my first drink at 18 years old, amaretto sour, and I threw up all over myself off of amaretto sour. Now, the second drink I had, I think I was 20 years old, and I was at university at this time. And I said, I want to order a Hennessy. Why was I ordering Hennessy? If anybody ever listened to Tupac, they know that was his favorite drink, right?
Thanks.
Hennessy, and he would just sing that word, and rhyme it with enemies or misery, and that passion that he. So I said, I'm gonna smoke Newports and I'm gonna drink Hennessy behind Tupac, right? That was the influence that rapper had on a young, impressionable mind at 14, 15, and 16 years old when I was first introduced to his music. And not only his music, but his antics, because he was always in the news. You asked me what was my relationship with hip hop. I think I'm different than a lot of people. I'm 43. So I remember pre-gangster rap, right? I remember when hip hop was Kwame with the polka dots. I remember Big Daddy Kane and Kool Moe Dee, Wild Wild West. Wild West. Yeah, I remember LL Cool J, I'm bad. No rapper could rap quite like I can. I take a muscle-bound man and put his face in the sand.
Yeah.
Not the last mafioso, I'm an MC cop. Make it say go LL and do the WAP. Yeah,
that's the first rap song. So I'm a little younger than you. So I have, and I've told the story several times. I have a cousin named Mickey. He's probably about your age, maybe about 45, I want to say. Cousin named Mickey. And he used to look just like LL. Adidas tracksuits, Kangos, or whatever. And they live like out in the country, like Spring, Oklahoma. They live, I'm talking about, it might be 2 or 3 houses on the land. It's like my family's old homestead. And I don't even know, the town population is probably under 500. Super duper. I'm talking about rural southern Oklahoma. And I used to go out there, and I see the record to Walking with the Panther. You know what I'm saying? Walking with the Panther. And I was like, and I'm 5. I was like, that's Mickey. Like, no, that's not Mickey. He was like, that's a rapper. I'm like, what's rap? And he plays I'm Bad. And he plays I'm Bad. And like, so every time I went over there, he would teach me bits and pieces of I'm Bad at 5 years old until I memorized the whole song, right?
Yeah.
Because he looked like him. Mickey would dress just like him. So Mickey is like the person who introduced me to hip hop. And like, my father's a gospel musician, so the music was already in me. He was an artist as well, you know what I'm saying? But like hip hop, like was like is LL. And so like to this day, like anytime I see like LL performing, I make sure like I share it with Mickey, and it's just kind of like that's our thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, but so that's my joint. So you're talking about like getting into hip hop before. This is
before it was gangster.
80s, early 90s, before it went to the West Coast. This is before 1991.
It was okay. I was first of all, let's put it really into perspective. Hip hop wasn't even that large. So we watched MTV, and Michael Jackson was the biggest thing out there, right? MTV wasn't even playing rap music like talking about. I think maybe Run DMC was on MTV, but so I grew up not thinking that the only genre of music you could listen to had to be hip hop or rap. So we grew up listening to White Snake. Yeah, we watched this on MTV. We listened to Guns N' Roses. Yeah, that was on MTV. Michael Jackson. I can remember Motown 25 when Michael Jackson pulled out the bust out the moonwalk for the first time. And my cousins and myself, with socks on in the kitchen trying to do the moonwalk. Right? I grew up at a time when hip hop, before it went gangster, you could listen to it in the car with your mom. Who has a problem with the Wild Wild West? Who has a problem with that? Right? Who has a problem with Run DMC saying my Adidas? Right? It was, you didn't have to be embarrassed or ashamed for listening to that type of music. And then it went to a more radical and conscious stuff. X-Clan, To the East, My Brothers to the East, right? And Public Enemy.
You're right.
And one of my all-time favorite is Assalamu alaikum, walaikum assalam, the universal greeting of the brothers of our kind, poor righteous teachers, right? So that's the music that was my introduction to hip-hop. Right? I remember when hip hop went gangster. I remember going by my cousin. You talked about your cousin. I have a cousin named James, who lived in Alexandria, Louisiana. And I remember him showing me Eazy-E's tape. You heard what I said? I said the tape, right? And had Eazy-E on it. And he said, man, you know who that is? I said, no. He said, he's a gangster. Right? And because this is Big Cuz, this is the cousin we look up to. This is the cousin that beat up our bullies for us, right? My cousin came down, so I grew up, I told you, in a middle class neighborhood. There was this white boy in our neighborhood named Nicky. Nicky was, a few years older than my cousin. And I got a cousin that's almost like a brother to me, or he is like a brother to me. He would always be at my house, and I'm always at his house. He's 4 years older than me, but my mom and his mom are sisters. So when his mom would be at work, my mom would watch him. And then just because he's my cousin, I would want to go over there and hang at his house. He had the basketball goal and all that good stuff, right? So there was this guy named Nicky that would pick on us, right? Pick on us throughout the neighborhood when he was over at my house. My cousin James, we call him Terry, came down from Alexandria and whooped this boy. He ran him from about 5 houses. He ran from my house to about 5 houses down and just was whooping on him and beat. So Terry is our superhero. So when he points to this guy and says, this is a gangster, right? With such admiration, with such enthusiasm, with such, I don't know how to describe it, but when he pointed at him, I'm like, man, I got to see what this is about, right? So I'm introduced to Eazy-E, Ice Cube, NWA, Yella, right?
And
then
all of them.
Ren, right? And then DJ Quick, MCA, right? So I'm kind of listening, but I'm like, I really don't like this music. I was just never a fan of the West Coast sound, right? So it really didn't begin to affect me. I was aware of it. It wasn't until that sound, that gangster sound, moved to the South, and I heard Scarface. Yeah. And then I heard UGK, Pocket Full of Stones. I got a pocket full of stones, getting paid, mother. I got a pocket full of stones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that. I said, man, that's different. What is that? Yeah.
Right.
And the way it sounded in the... Go ahead.
I'm sorry. But no, you said the way it sounded in the car?
Way it sounded in the car, man. At this time, my cousins Kenya and Terry, they wasn't age. Now they have vehicles. And at the time, you had pull-out CD players and putting 6x9s in your car. So and sound system and woofers in the back and in the trunk. Don't even have space in your trunk for luggage or anything. It's just speakers back there, right? That's the era I come from. And so I was more intrigued with the music sound. Boom, that old country bass that Pimp C would put on that N.O. Joe funk coming from from Rap a lot, right? So yeah, I would listen to that music, man, and because they was talking about places that I had been to Houston. I had never been in my life to LA, never been to New York, but I've been to Houston, right? And you would hear them sometimes, and they would talk about Pimp C would talk about I'm on the road to Lafayette. Oh, I've been to Lafayette. Yeah, I'm hitting I-10. You know, I gotta holler at Master P because we got money to make.
Money
I
to
know all
make,
them
yeah.
people. Yeah. I
Right, right,
know
right,
all
right.
this, right? So that's what it made it familiar to me, right? So it made me more intrigued and more interested in them. So at 15, Pac was my favorite rapper, right? But it was probably Pimp C who had more of an influence on the on certain things, you know, in particular the
Because
way I
he
wanted
talked
to
about things
dress.
I was more familiar. Right.
Yeah, particularly the way I want to dress. I wear polos now because he said polo horses on my bed, F a hill figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun
So anyway,
BPA
brother, go ahead.
trail
You about to
niggas,
ask me a
polo.
question.
No, so it's a couple things. So you talk about the West Coast music, right? So crack came to Oklahoma in the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And along with crack came LA gangs. And
Mm-hmm.
so Oklahoma has always had like a big West Coast influence. If I live in Tulsa now, niggas gangbang. I grew up in my small town, Southern Oklahoma, under gang culture. So
Okay.
like you mentioned those West Coast artists, like I relate to it. I've been to LA, spent some time in LA. I relate to
Mm-hmm.
it a lot because like I grew up under gang culture. You know what I'm saying? And so and then like I understand what you're saying as well, because like where I grew up 30 minutes north of the Texas border, 100 miles north of Dallas. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so that you got that Texas influence, you know what I'm saying? It pretty much, if you big in Houston, you big in the whole state of Texas, right? And so when
Absolutely. Yeah.
we bang, screw, UGK, Scarface, all that. And
Yeah.
then, I lived in South Louisiana for 20 years. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of stuff that I enjoyed in high school when I moved to Baton Rouge. And like I love, first time I heard Han by Juvie, I thought he was Jamaican. I didn't realize, because if you think about it, by this time, P
Yeah.
had money. If P was living in mansions, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
like you hadn't seen New Orleans projects like that until the Han
Yeah.
video on a nationwide scale, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so
Right.
like Pete, Pete absolutely got a thick accent, but the New Orleans patois, the New Orleans, like speaking
Mm-hmm.
in that particular dialect, I never heard nothing like it. And so I loved it. I loved it when it came out. I was a Cash Money dude. Juvenile still one of my favorite rappers to this day because I think he's an excellent storyteller and just whatever. But it's so much that even though 400 Degrees is one of my all-time favorite albums, it's so much that I did not know about 400 Degrees until I moved to Louisiana. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Just
Yeah.
like stuff like okay, a simple line like, when you broke, you drove, huh? When you paid, you got
We
buku
got buku
places to
places
go.
to go, huh?
We don't say drove in Oklahoma. We don't say
Yeah. Yeah.
buku. So like
Yeah.
and so it's just things that we say, me, Corey, and Dusty done ducked off. We don't use the term ducked
Ducked
off.
off.
So
Yeah.
I thought he was saying duck dog. I didn't know what he was saying. I was rapping it, whatever. So anyway, all that to say.
Yeah.
But so I guess for you specifically, like being in New Orleans, I hear people talk about, if you was off the porch, you survived past 94, you a gangster. So like
You're a gangster.
specifically,
Soldier Sim said that. Yeah.
absolutely. So specifically, like like being a teenager in the mid 90s in New Orleans, right? You got, if you listen to the song Hustler, Hustler, we do the dance to it. That is a violent
Red,
ass
bro.
song.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
we
Talk about
dancing to it.
murder. Yeah, it's murder.
But the story that he's telling is like, it's like a drug heist going wrong, right? Or if
Yeah.
you listen to another super melodic song by PNC, give me that hair on, baby. You know what I'm saying? So
Facts.
like,
They,
okay,
they,
so
they're
so we
saying
talked about, yeah, right,
they're
right. So
singing
you
about our
talked about the
destruction.
West Coast. So you talk about the West Coast influence, whatever. Do you talk about Pac and UGK, but like specifically being a 15-year-old black New Orleanian when New
Let's
Orleans
get to it.
was
Let's get
the
to it.
murder rate, was the murder capital of the world,
Uh-huh.
and you got from Cash Money to even bounce music. You know what I'm
Before
saying? Like
that, I'm
what
before
what
that. I'm
like what
before
kind
that.
what kind of, you know what I'm saying, like
So
what kind of effect that what was that like in the era for you?
listen, so we talked about gangster rap, and I think that's why I never really got into Coast music because I'm from New Orleans, and New Orleans don't have gangs. We do not have gangs. We have cliques of people, and I could remember there's a rapper named Joe Black. He said, "Ain't no gang round. It's every N word for himself or the N words that he hang around." Right? It's every man a king out here. So the gang mentality never really, you know, infested New Orleans like that. We have cliques, right? 2 or 3 cats that run together. You know, the closest thing we had to a gang was the Valley Boys back in the day, right? But the local rap scene and me being in off the porch, right? Right. Keep in mind, in '94, I'm 10th grade, 11th grade. So I'm definitely moving around the city, going to see girls in the East when the East was the black mecca of black middle class people in New Orleans. But I was before Juvie. Like when Juvie came out, like that was younger rap music to me. I remember UNLV, right? I remember Tim Smooth. I remember Bust Down. Bust Down had a song called "Put Your Ballies On." He had another song called "Nasty B," right? I remember Tim Smooth had a song called "Meet Me at Rube's" and another song called "I Don't Give a Damn About Your Boyfriend. Your old man really don't mean to me. I believe some thick D quick in your relationship is history. Because everybody needs a real sometime. So listen to this rhyme. You're cute as a puppy with all the marks on your neck. And everybody here seem to think he got yourself in check. Except Tim don't really care why he put the marks up there. Right? So I remember that was MC Thick cruising down the street real slow with the fellas be yelling Morero.
Right.
Yeah, I'm from that era. I'm
Gotcha.
from 3-9 Posse, past the snake. And they had another song, it was a West Bank thing, a West Bank thing, a West. I'm from that era. So when you talk about New Orleans rap, I'm even from the New Orleans rap era before it became gangster and about selling drugs and all of that. It was about partying, who had the best clothes on, who had the most women, who had the tightest ride. So, and I think that's important to mention because when mom and dad hear songs about "Meet Me at Rubenstein Brothers," I don't know if you're familiar with Rubenstein Brothers. Rubenstein Brothers is on Canal Street. To this day, it is the place where you go and buy $3 and $4 and $5 and $6 and $8,000 suits, like suits. Yeah, because there was a time when our people didn't just wear jeans and t-shirts. Yeah, even the gangsters wore nice clothes and Coogee sweaters and will put on bally shoes. We had a song called "Put Your Ballies On." Ballies cost $500, right? $500 pair of shoes. So right, so Rubenstein. So Rubenstein Brothers is where my dad, the Baptist preacher, shopped to get his suits, right? So to hear a song about "Meet Me at Rube's," with that, it's gonna be like, oh, that's a horrible song. So it kind of eased parents into allowing us to listen to music. But on that same tape, Tim Smooth had "Meet Me at Rube." He also had a song called "I Don't Give a Damn About Your Boyfriend," where he's so vulgar and explicit, talking about this woman and her cheating on her boyfriend with him. I don't even want to begin to quote it, but so I think that was part of as Elijah Muhammad would say, the tricknology of the devil, right? It was easy to get us to pass the music. There was no parental advisory stickers at this time, so it was easy to get us to pass the music by mom and dad because, again, who's going to be upset with "Put Your Ballies On," "Meet Me at Rube's," "My Adidas," right? Cruising down the street real slow, what they yelling, Morero. Who's upset at that, right? It's not until later on, or when you really get into the tape or the CD, that you hear like, oh no, this is next level violent, or this is next level misogyny. Bust Down, the guy who made the song "Nasty B," right? To this day now, he says, I don't play that song. When I perform at shows, I don't do that song. He said, ever since my daughter was born, I don't do that song. But wait a minute, what about all them other daughters whose
What's
mama
funny?
and daddy
What's
heard
funny?
that song? Huh?
One of my old college roommates. Well, I was in college. We had an apartment together. He said his TD was the chick that he was talking about on Nasty D. He said it was his auntie. I said, damn. I said, yo. I was
Hold
like,
up, I got
yo,
one
like,
better for you.
I
I
would
got one
told
better
nobody
for
that.
you. Juvie got a song that says uh 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 yeah, I'm gonna put you out till you wanna clean your room up. I'm gonna buy me some new nookie and buy a forerunner. I'm gonna find me some new
Right.
nookie. That verse right there, the chick he was talking about, and that verse right there is my ex. But anyway,
You
yeah,
talk about
yeah.
a walk with it because my it's heavy and you're like, oh,
Oh,
wow,
that is. And I know I got some big lips,
wow,
but I ain't tripping. Le
yeah,
mama I love, but I don't know if that's it. He says no. He says yeah, I'm gonna buy.
yeah. That's what
Tell
he
you,
say.
want to
Yeah,
clean
so
your room up. I'm gonna find me some new and buy a forerunner. I walk with a
yeah,
exactly,
because my nuts,
exactly.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
wow,
yeah. When
wow.
where we were sitting her down one day, and she said, he wrote because she told me she like, I used to date Juvie, right? And I keep it up. We all in the same age bracket. Now I'm 43. I think maybe Juvie might be closer to 50, maybe 4 or 5 years older, might be 46,
I think
47.
I think he just made 46.
Yeah, 46, something like that. Yeah. So we all in the same bracket. We all running in these same streets at similar time. So I remember talking to her and she was like, I used to date Juvie. I was like, oh, wow, that's deep. And I'm thinking to myself, in my young mind, I'm like, I'm confused by all the glitz and the glamour and the 2 Rolexes on the hand and all the money they think. I was like, oh man, shoot, I don't know if I can keep up. I ain't got money like that. I'm just a regular old cat, I'm a regular schoolboy or whatever have you. I ain't got cash like that. And she was the first person to tell me that's fake. Yeah, she was in that life
Mm,
with him. She was going on tour with him. She was living with him before they broke up. And she was like,
mm.
that's fake. She was like, all of that is fake. She was like, they really don't have money like that. And then it made sense to me. If they really had the cake like they were saying, then why are you over here? You ain't gonna come to no schoolboy. You know what I'm saying? If they really balling like they say they balling, right?
Right, right,
So that
right.
was my first inclination that, man, something here ain't right. But go ahead. I don't want to overtake this
No, 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 man.
conversation.
Look, bro. This is look. So we don't get to the nitty gritty. Why we here, right? You got a lot of videos on it. I catch some of. I see some of the commentary. What have you? I'm not gonna say who, but people that texted me like, "Yo, what you think?" I'm like, I'm gonna talk to him. You know what I mean? Like people
Mhm.
like, because it's within our New Orleans circle, whatever. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's being discussed, whatever. It's being shared. People are agreeing, disagreeing. People text me like, "Man, what you think?" Like, I'm a holler at him. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a conversation that need to be had. So it's a lot, right? So let's
Mhm.
in let's try to do 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I want you to lay out your argument behind the examine rap hashtag.
Okay, so I believe that like music plays like a vital role in the development and maintenance of culture. Uh, we have songs for every occasion in our lives. We have graduation songs, we have wedding songs, I've seen gospel songs take a person, right? And they accept Jesus and they go from being drug dealers and strippers and gangsters and thugs and womanizers and all kind of stuff to being preachers of God's word because a song touched them and moved them, right? um I believe that music plays an important role not only in moments but in movements. What would the civil rights movement be without Eyes on the Prize? What would the radical 70s be without James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm
Yeah,
Black
loud,
and
I'm
I'm
black, I'm
Proud,
proud. Right.
or Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, right? So music is very instrumental. It is the soundtrack of our lives. Um, I also know that music can be detrimental and destructive. For instance, the American Continental Army played Yankee Doodle as their unofficial theme song before they went to war. Now, you can couple that with an unsung episode that was on the Ghetto Boys, where Willie D said the first time he went to Chicago, he ran into some GDs, and the GDs told Willie,
Uh-oh.
man, I'm really making music that people are killing to. So music has been used to psychologically torture prisoners of war. The CIA uses the song Rawhide as a torture technique. The prisoners at Guantanamo Bay were subjected to Enter Sandman by Metallica as a form of torture. My explicit argument is that rap music has been weaponized against Black people to erode our cultural standards, promote violence, drug use, misogyny, hypersexuality, glorification of predatory capitalism, and prison culture. And while the record companies and the distributors play a major role in the scheme, it is the rappers who are equipping the record companies and the distributors with the ammunition. Furthermore, the second part of my argument is that Mama C. Dolores Tucker and Daddy Calvin Butts were absolutely right in their assessment of the music. And we as children who lack maturity and who lack insight and who lack experience, we sided with the rappers. And we allowed Tupac and Ice Cube and Eminem to convince us that our mama and our daddy were wrong for telling us what was right and what was wrong. So a lot of the arguments that I hear, brother, is that it's not all of the rappers. It's not all rappers. Well, I'm on here with a rapper that doesn't rap like that. So I know it's not all rappers, but the bottom line is for the last 30 years, the lion's share of music that is mass produced and that is okay, I see you change the screen. That's mass produced, that is being put out and topping the charts are gangster rap, drill rappers, and trap rappers. I hear other people say that it's the corporations. It's the corporations that we have to be upset with. And yes, Mama C. Dolores Tucker, she said, I'm not going after the rappers. I'm going after Interscope, the distributor, right? Those who are putting this across the nation, this poison across the nation for our people to consume, right? But when we say it's the corporations, we have to go back to the conversation we just had, right? I remember when Cash Money was a local brand, when there was no corporation, no backing, no signing, no $30 million deal with Universal, when they was just a bunch of Negroes recording Uptown and recording in Kenner, and they were distributing the music themselves and going to a local, a regional distribution out in Texas that would pass it out through Oklahoma, Louisiana, Mississippi,
Southwest Wholesale.
Southwest Wholesale, exactly, right? So when there was no white man to blame, and they were still making music about heroin and killing and selling birds, so how can we always blame it on the corporations, right? And then other people argue with me and they say, well, brother Asad, these young Black men don't have any money, and you got to blame it on the white man for dangling that check in front of their face. And so what would you do if you was poor and some white man gave you some money? And I said, man, that's the only proving my point. It's nothing new. Negroes been selling each other out since the plantation. They sold Nat Turner out, right? Right. So all you telling me is that these Negroes are Sambos for the white man. The white man, the single largest market of purchasing, right, of rap music is white teenagers. So we are marketing our death, our destruction, the hatred of our women, the killing of our brothers and sisters for white folk to laugh and dance and be entertained to, right? So my argument is this: when do we turn a critical eye to this music, right? We can look at research. So what I want to know as a PhD researcher, what does the research say, right? What does the research say? So there's one research in the Journal of Social Psychology that says that exposure to violent rap lyrics, violent rap music increases aggression, right? Increases thoughts of violence, and acceptance of violence as an action, meaning, yeah, I'm thinking about being violent. And now I think that violence can be an option in this situation. There's other research that says that exposure to violent rap lyrics makes men more aggressive towards women and more accepting of violence towards women, right? But don't we know this? We've been listening to this for 30 years. And then we ask silly ass questions like, man, how can a 12 and 13-year-old go out and kill? How can a 16-year-old in New Orleans East shoot a 65-year-old black woman, a grandmom in the street? How can a 14 and 15-year-old girls, 14 and 15-year-old girls carjack a woman, and as she's trying to hold on to her car, drag her body till her arm rips off from her body? How can these things happen? Well, if they've been listening to music that's going to make them more aggressive, more accepting of violence, and more willing to do violence, then it makes sense. They've been listening to this for the last 30 years in their headphones, walking around, right? And they give you better headphones every year to listen to it. And finally, my argument is this, and I'll leave it at that. My final argument is this. If Black people rapped about, or if rappers rapped about killing white people or killing dogs, the way they rapped about killing each other, rap would be banned tomorrow. If a black rapper made a song about killing dogs, do you think Gucci would sponsor him? Do you think all these liquor companies would sponsor them? Do you think YouTube would let their videos stay up? Do you think Spotify would have them as #1? I mean, Mike Vick wasn't even there when they was fighting the dogs. He wasn't even around. It just happened on his property, and they still hate Mike Vick behind a dog. Do you think if rappers replaced the N-word with gay person or the F word, I don't want to say because I don't want to disrespect anybody, but the F word, right? If they replaced it with the F word, how do you think the LGBTQ community will respond? If they made a song like Xtashion, I think is his name, Xtashion, he had a song called Kill, 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 like the and kill that M word. If we replace the M word with the F word for that song, how do you think the LGBTQ community will respond to it? Right? So why is it okay for this hate speech? So that's what I called it. I called it hate speech. Hate speech is any speech that is used to incite violence or aggression against a certain group of people. And in the United States, hate speech is actually protected under the First Amendment unless hate speech is coupled with an action. So when it's coupled with an action, it becomes a hate crime. So if a white man jumps on me and starts beating me up, and then he says, I hate you effing N-words, that just became a hate crime. Well, for the last 30 years, we've had hate speech and hate crimes being promoted and propagated in our communities, and we wonder why we are the way we are. We wonder, homie, I work in the jails. I go to OJC, which is formerly OPP, Orleans Parish Prison, right? I go into Angola, I go into Hunt, and I see our people. I see what's going on with these young brothers. They got their hair like Kodak Black. Yeah, they're listening to this music and they have been tricked. They have been fooled. So I'm thinking to myself, man, when are we going to call this out? How long are we going to allow this to continue to happen, right? How long are we going to continue to embrace this music? We don't even know how to have proper relationships with women anymore, right? When I say we, I know some of us do, but too many of our young brothers don't know how to have proper relationships with women anymore because they've been listening to rap music since they were born, you know? And those thoughts and those ideas are in their head. So I said, when you see a brother and he's trying to talk to a sister on the street, and she rejects him. No, I don't want you. No, I'm good. I got an old man. And instead of taking it like, all right, cool, whatever, he turns around and he calls her a B and an H. And then where do you think that sentiment came from? You think that's innate? Who put that in him? How did those thoughts come to his mind? Right? Yeah, that's rap music. When they say B's ain't shit, but H's and tricks. If you've been taught that for the last 30 years, of course, so she rejects you, you about to snap out. But I won't go there first. So that's my argument. My
No, no,
argument
no.
is that
Look. You look. Yes, I want to add to your. I want to add to your conversation.
Mm.
I agree with you, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why I agree. I'm gonna tell you why I agree with a lot of what you say for two things. Number one, I think you should absolutely read this book. The FBI War Against Tupac Shakur, State Repression of Black Lives from Civil Rights Era 1990s, whatever. There's an audio book too. If you do audio books, I own the DVD. I got the book. It's an excellent, excellent book. Context. I was a Biggie guy. When East Coast, West Coast beef, I'm 12, 13 years old. I was a Biggie guy, right? Everybody else is on Tupac. I was on Biggie. Everybody else is on West Coast and Southern music. I liked it all, but I like East Coast music too. So of course, I was old enough to understand Biggie's impact. I just didn't listen to him as much. It wasn't until I was in college and I really, really started researching Tupac, whatever. And I stumbled across this book right here. And it made me appreciate Tupac on a much different level because it has lots of FBI files and it breaks down his political legacy to where he was never supposed to he was never supposed to live because they was upset that Afeni was 21 years old and
had him beat pregnant in prison.
No, well, not even that. That's that, but she beat 300 years.
Panther 21.
With the Panther 21, right? And so he was marked for death. So what this book does is it shows where Death Row Records was a front, a government funded front to disrupt the peace treaty after 1992. After the Rodney King thing, right? And I 100% believe Suge Knight is informant. If you watch the show Snowfall, you know that Franklin Saint works with the CIA.
Absolutely, right.
So we love Franklin Saint, but Franklin Saint is very much an op. He's an operative, right? He's a snitch. So the principal owner of Death Row Records is Harry O. Like you hear Snoop mention him all the time now, right?
Right.
So you hear Snoop, especially now, right? Harry O I want to say he just got out of prison or whatever. But Harry O, so Death Row Records was owned by three people. It was owned by David Kenner, who was a CIA trial lawyer. Right. CIA trial lawyer. Harry O, who was Rick Ross's partner, who was getting the dope from the feds. I mean from the CIA. And then you got Suge Knight, right? So all this to say is like this. It made me looking at Tupac's political legacy and what he was supposed to be, right? It made me appreciate what he was trying to do a whole lot more. Now, how he was marketed, how it came out, how he was. I believe Tupac was assassinated after reading this book, after meeting, God bless his soul, Chokwe Lumumba, who was his lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Who was later he passed away as he was the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi. Now his son is the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi. After meeting Tupac's lawyer and having a conversation with, you know what I'm saying? So it made me appreciate Tupac a whole lot more.
Let me jump in. I want to say a few things about Tupac because I think that was the stuff that got me the most flack because Tupac is idolized, right?
Right.
He's supposed to be our generation's Malcolm. This brother was brilliant. What I said was Pac died at 25 years old. I'm 43. 100%. I'm 43. So I have about 20 years of more life experience than Pac had when he died. So everything we have on Pac stops at 25. His view of the world, his perception of the world, his understanding of life stops at 25. No matter how insightful it may have been at 25, his brain was literally just formed. Right. So and keep in mind that we only have about 6 years worth of Pac music. So I guess about 18, 19 maybe so is when we first get the first intro to Pac. So this is a teenager up to a young person at 25. And I can think about where I was at 25. what I was doing at 25 and how immature in many ways I was, even if I was mature in certain other ways, right? But now at 43, 20 years difference, I'm a
100%.
father, I'm a husband, I've experienced loss, I've experienced gain, I've experienced tragedy, I've been through hurricanes and pandemics and all kind of stuff, right? I've been in love and lost love, and I've experienced holding my baby for the first time and then holding my second baby. It's these life experiences that I have, 20 plus years of them, that Tupac didn't have. So when I look back at Tupac, right, as 43, I'm like, oh no, that there's a lost brother there. He's brilliant.
So, this is what I say. This is what I say. I, I'm not negating your critique as far as maturing, right? Biggie died at 24. You know what I'm saying? So whatever. But this is what I'm saying. What this book does is it details the several different psychological profiles and tactics that they used on other Black leaders and how they mirrored them on Tupac. So this is what I want to say. So as far like I argue that Tupac was born to be the next Malcolm, but he was not, because of his political lineage, and the government used hip hop to thwart that. You know what I'm saying? And another thing this book does really well, and like I said, like I got my degree in history, so I'm a bibliography guy. I want to research the researcher, right? And what it does really well is, on top of just talking about Tupac, it talks about Bob Marley and all the, it talks about a lot of different ways U.S. intelligence agencies worked to silence radical artists, right? Bob Dylan, but one thing it also does is it shows the history of U.S. intelligence agencies working in media. And, like literally, I want to say, I can't remember the record label. It's been years I read the book and whatever. I need to freshen up on it. But I want to say the co-director of the Department of Psychological Warfare, he doubled as Jesus Christ. I can't remember the title, but he was a major player, I want to say, for Warner Brothers. So the same person who's a part of CIA's psychological warfare is also an exec at Warner Brothers, right? And so, and I say this to say, and I think, and I haven't heard everything that you've done. You've done a lot, and I'd be so tired from school teaching. But I think one thing that I would like to see you, especially as a researcher, and as look, I know you're Muslim now, but you absolutely are the son of a Baptist preacher, and I hear it in your voice. You know what I mean? But like one thing as a researcher and just as an articulate person, I think that would like kind of round out your argument a little bit more, is to like really look in like how complicit like U.S. intelligence agencies have been in projecting this particular pathology about African people in America. I think I think that's the reason why people react, right? And so I think I don't, let me say this real quick. I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong as it pertains to, artists perpetuating the same hell and the same devilishment that whatever this artist would absolutely do it. But I also think that what I would like to hear more from, or whatever, what I'm not gonna say what's missing, but what I've missed is it's not an either or thing. I think it's both. I think Black folks are absolutely complicit in the way hip-hop music, rap music is gone from a major label standpoint or what have you. But I think just an examination of the conditions that created this type of expression that would make somebody so poor that they would do this and sell somebody out or whatever. I think these things go hand in hand, right? And I think it all begins. I think it all begins with white supremacy, right? And I absolutely believe that Black folks can be white supremacists, Mexicans can be white supremacists. White supremacy is at the top of the thing that anybody could be, right? But I think I what I've missed in your argument or whatever is like that's where it goes. That, you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
It's
let me jump in because I want to jump in about the Tupac. But let me say this: when you hear rappers talk about killing other black people, they are ventriloquizing white supremacy.
absolutely.
When yeah, so they are black white supremacists and they need to be held accountable. I don't expect the CIA to work on behalf of black. I expect the CIA to do exactly what the CIA does, and that's destroy the rise of a black messiah, right? I expect the CIA to, let's go,
had a whole album about that.
but let's talk about Tupac for a moment and how I got and how we got here. First of all, there's a Orlando Anderson pulled the trigger to kill Tupac. Was he set up with the CIA? I don't know, but his own uncle admitted, "Hey, I was in the car, handed him the gun, and he shot Tupac." Right. So Pac didn't die as a martyr in Kingstonian style, right? He died on some street stuff. You listen to Idi Amin. Idi Amin says Pac died.
I see that I I'm not gonna say I disagree. I I I believe I believe all that was a setup.
Okay.
I absolutely believe. I mean,
Yeah.
and based off the research that I've read that I've
Yeah.
seen and my
Mm.
conversation with Chokwe Lumumba,
Yeah.
I absolutely believe. Like I don't think it was just gangbanging. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, the guy who
I don't
pulled the
believe
trigger was
the guy
killed.
who's crip he was a crip, but
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
person who told him the person who like they even showed this. Look, the
Mm.
Tupac movie it was poorly done, but as a historian, what I did like about it is they use a lot of stuff that came from
Mm.
FBI files. So
Yeah.
if you remember after he got shot, you seen all these cops and FBI agents kind of showing their badges. Like the person who told him to take his vest off was an undercover FBI agent.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
and like Suge is
Right.
absolutely an informant, right? And so my interpretation of what I've researched as a historian, it wasn't just gangbanging. Yes,
Uh-huh.
it was a crip. Yes, it
Yeah.
was a crip,
Orlando
but it
Anderson
wasn't
pulled the
just Crips
trigger.
and Bloods type stuff.
Yeah. So
It wasn't Crips and Bloods type stuff. It's just you know what I'm saying. It was
uh,
something that came through the LAPD,
another
something that
Sambo
came through the U.S.
Negro
intelligence agency.
being used by white supremacy to take out another
Absolutely.
black man, and that's rappers too, right? So that's how I see it, right? So even if you are 100% correct on Orlando Anderson being an operative for the CIA to murder Tupac, he is just no more than another Sambo Negro like these rappers who are operatives for whether they are complicit or whether they are aware or not to take out black people. But here's my thing with Tupac and how I got to this. My son is 12. When he was about 11 years old, a few months ago, right? I just bought my son a phone on Monday, right? He didn't have a phone. When you get in my car, you listening to Bob Marley, or you listening to Cornell West, or you listening to WBOK, which is a local talk radio show here, right? Now, when I'm riding in my car or whatever have you, ain't no telling what I'm listening to. I don't really listen to hip hop rap anymore, but I may throw on a little Nas One mic, right? I may throw on Arrested Development. They had a song, marriage, 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 marriage. And I want to talk about that too, Arrested Development, because that was another point that I missed. But my son, I was talking with him. I said, what kind of music you listening to? And he said, Dad, this rapper. He took my phone and he pulled up a rapper that the kids at school had introduced him to. And when I listened to the song, he was talking about effing somebody's mama. That was part of the chorus. I don't even know the little boy's name, right? So I thought I was doing something intelligent. I said, well, I'm not going to scold my son for this music. I'm going to take him and let him listen to what I think is a good hip hop song. So I put on Tupac's Dear Mama, a song that I thought spoke reverently about his mother. But then I really paid attention to the lyrics. He said, even as a crack fiend mama, you always was a black queen mama. Now, when I first heard that song and I first heard that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But at 43, I'm like, you can't be a crackhead, a crack fiend, and a black queen simultaneously. Those things don't go together. Do you know what a crackhead will do for crack? right? A crack will have a heterosexual man doing homosexual activities to get crack. Crack will have a woman sell her body on the street all night to get crack. Crack will have a person break in your house and steal your toaster and your penny jar just to get some crack. It is virtually impossible to be both a black queen and a crack fiend. That was the hypocrisy. So then he comes back in the same, he says, even though I sell rocks, I ain't guilty because it feels good putting money in your mailbox. Wait a minute. If we really examine what crackheads do to get crack, and his mother is a crackhead by his admission, and Afeni was a beautiful, intelligent woman who got caught up in a very destructive drug, but by his own admission, he called her a crack fiend. And then he can go out and sell crack rocks, whether he did it or not, or whether it was just part of the verse. But it was the hypocrisy in that verse, right? I don't want my son to think a good excuse for selling drugs is to put money in your crack fiend's mother mail. But I want you to think that going to work is what you need to do. Mom, I need to go to work and figure out how to become a substance abuse counselor so I can counsel you to get you off this drug, not to go in and sell drugs to somebody else's mother, right? So that was I started really listening to Tupac, and we always said Tupac was a Gemini and he had two sides, and you know, he makes keep your head up, and then
I wonder why they call you bitch.
wonder why they call you B, and then he tells C. Dolores Tucker, wait, C. Dolores Tucker, you keep effing with an N word. I guess you wanted to know why we call them H's, B's. Look at that. You mad at C. Dolores Tucker for telling you something I know damn well Afeni. The Afeni that we knew publicly. The Afeni that went to New York's courtroom and defended herself against this government. The Afeni who was with the Panther 21. The Afeni who was a Black Panther revolutionary conscious Black woman. I know damn well she ain't approved Tupac out there saying to C. Dolores Tucker, that's why we call them HSBs. You think Afeni was like, yeah, go Pac, that was the right thing to do? Ain't no way in the world. That ain't the way that works.
So I want to interject. So Tupac was absolutely a man of a lot of contradictions, and it was good, bad, and ugly. I don't think, and you may or may not agree. To this day, I don't think there's ever been a rapper that has the same level of potency in their pen as Tupac. Period. Like Tupac, whatever Tupac was feeling, you felt the same way. If it was whatever, it because that's how powerful he was. And I think ultimately, I think that's why he was assassinated. I want you. You're a researcher. I want you to read the book. We can have a whole other conversation about it, right? But this is what I will say. I think the thing that's lost that I learned reading this book and doing my own research is Tupac, mother Afeni, was introduced she was introduced to crack by a boyfriend who was an informant. He was a Panther after she left Matulu. He was somebody who was still a former Panther who they flipped as an informant. And he's the one who introduced her to crack. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I think contextually this goes back to you know, yes, she got on drugs, but she was put on drugs by hands of the government. So another thing too. I don't know.
Let me say this. I want to be clear. I don't want to downplay Afeni. I'm listening to what Pac is saying in the contradiction in his language.
I think he did. Yeah, absolutely. But absolutely. So I agree. So I don't think that you're downplaying or slandering Afeni at all. But what I'm saying is, I think it's important to find out how she got on crack. Yeah. And the same person who got her own crack is the same person that Tupac may not be selling crack for, got into the neighborhoods, right? So, and also I don't necessarily know, and this is just where we might defer. I don't think, how can I say it? I don't know. First of all, I don't know to what extent that how Afeni behaved in the streets while she was addicted to drugs. I don't know. I haven't heard any reports of her prostituting herself, or blah 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 blah. But I wouldn't say that a son shouldn't see his mother, who might be addicted to drugs, as a queen. I don't know if I would say that. I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean by that, or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Dr. Stacey Patton said only a black woman can get away with that. Even that type of language, because we would never say that a black man that's strung out, he a king. He ain't a king yet. He got to get himself up out that dirt. He got to get himself up out that mud. He got to clean himself up, make something out of himself, get a job, go to rehab, work on himself, and then you start seeing the king in him. And that same it works for everybody. We want to be sensitive to these things. And see, I think that's a part of growing up, listening and being a fan of somebody, that we are much more sensitive.
No. No. This isn't me defending Pac. I'm a Biggie guy who said a whole lot more worse shit. Right.
And Biggie said, "Don't you know my daughter kidnapped kids, effing you and throw you over the bridge."
So I'm not. Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is, this isn't me defending rappers. This isn't this isn't me defending Tupac. This is me bringing about as a person who's been in youth development. So look, I got my street credibility. I'm a conscious hip hop artist, but I go in any block, any neighborhood, all the street rappers respect me, because all these dudes that you shooting, I was the one as a mental health counselor working with their children.
Yeah.
I'm getting patted down just to go. I'm literally doing mental health services in the trap house, right? And so as a person who's actually in these conditions, I'm working with these quote unquote, it's bad rules, these pill babies, right? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The babies born,
Jigga City,
on pills, these Jigga babies, right? And so for me, like dealing with a whole bunch of children of parents who are addicted, right? I can't, it being in their homes and seeing that some of them are left to deal with a whole bunch of kids, and they cope by drugs or whatever, blah 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 blah, and they make a lot of bad mistakes, but some of them are doing as hard as they can. If a young brother sees some beauty in their mother, even when they're struggling or addicted, I'm not going to tell them you shouldn't call her a queen. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So for me, I mean, so that's the reason why I made the face. But that's neither here nor there. But the point I'm trying to make is this: is like, I think Doc. I think the analysis. I think just, how can I say it? What I'm missing from you, Doc, is just the link from. I'm not negating Black people or rappers' complicity, but the link from the conditions, the environment that is purposely imposed that create these type of things, right? Like, because think about it. So I absolutely agree that the biggest, most detrimental pieces of propaganda against African people is rap music. The mainstream major label system is brothers, you know what I'm saying, with the private prison industry. So I agree with that, and we get caught up, and we try to emulate. Brothers is poor, they trying to get it, they try to get onto it. So I agree with the detriment and the way people think. I'm gonna give you an example, right? So I'm an 8th grade teacher. My school is 98% Latinx, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a hip hop dude. I wear polo every day in the hallway. I'm playing music just to kind of get everybody hype, and I'm dabbing people down. I'm speaking, blah, 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 blah. And there was a rumor that I was a gang member. There was a rumor that I was a gang member, right? A lot of these kids, a lot of my students, they live in East Tulsa, which is pretty much all Latinx. You have your Mexican Americans, your Chicanos, and then you have a large immigrant population. So El Salvador, San Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Puerto Rico, Cuba, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so they don't see Black people unless if somebody go over there to get some dope, or if it's rap, right? And so they listen to a lot of Spanish music, but the two types of rap that they listen to the most, that has negatively informed the way they look at Black men, they are, and probably because maybe it's a Latino thing. A lot of they pops listen to old school West Coast gangster rap, right? And so they all love, like, so we having the school dance, and I'm trying to put a playlist together. They talk about Easy E. Who the hell playing Easy at a school dance, right? But they're
Right.
talking about Easy E, NWA, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, right? Or
Yeah.
they jump 30 years to the future and they want to listen to all the spin a block rap, smoking on the ops rap, right? And so
Yeah.
the music that they listen to
It's violent,
has
destructive.
negatively informed the way they look at black men. I come to them
Yeah.
as a college educated, HBCU educated, you can't see it right here, father, and it says support black colleges, right? You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And so I was deeply offended that they would make those statements. So I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you that rap music does inform the way other people look at us, the way we look at ourselves. But I guess the bigger question is the why and how did it got here. A lot of it just, so a lot of these issues, like like rap got gangster the same, it really got gangster the same time crack got in the hoods and AIDS and then, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, it's just like,
Let me
like,
jump in, bro. Let me jump in because I'm hearing what you're saying, and let me say this: our existence in the United States has always been, detrimental, right? Has always been in the worst conditions, right? We come from slaves. We are the descendants of slaves. We've never had much. We've never built a sustainable community besides isolated Tulsa and the Black Wall Streets and Rosewood. But as a whole, nationally, we never built. We are poor people, right? I think our grandmamas and granddaddies going to the juke joints, getting drunk. They had a hole in that juke joint, right? Right. They had holes in the juke joint. I don't want to be so vulgar, but they had holes in the juke joint, right? But we ain't start making songs about all these women as hoes. Wait, no, let me finish. Let me finish.
no,
Let
no,
me
no,
finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. In the 70s, heroin was rocking our communities. Post Vietnam, Black men were coming back to the United States, falling out left and right behind heroin. Curtis Mayfield made a song about "I'm Your Pusher," which had which exposed how negative this drug was in our community. But we didn't make songs glorifying "I'm about to go shoot up and get high." We didn't make songs like that. We didn't make songs. You think during the civil rights era, right? That people, we've been fighting and shooting and killing, right? Let me finish. We've been fighting, shooting, and killing, right? We've been fighting, shooting, and killing, right? But during the civil rights era, they were singing songs like "Ain't nobody gonna turn me around, keep my eyes on the prize, oh Lord." They wasn't talking about uh uh we all of us got one of them old uncles who's known for being a head buster, wig splitter. He'll beat you to the white meat and all. But they wasn't making songs like that. They wasn't propagating this stuff to our people, right? So when you ask me about the connection to white supremacy, my answer is the rappers are agents of white supremacy. That is the connection. They are the white supremacists.
Not, but see, I see this is where we differ. The difference, so you didn't have rap music. You know what you had? Black exploitation films.
That's cool.
The major difference, because all that shit was in there. The major difference was black exploitation films was only made for black people and it was not marketed to white folks.
But watch this. Watch this. You can watch a film once. You listen to music all day. You can listen to music in your car.
And I'm telling you, that is the difference. That is the difference. Like so that is absolutely the difference. That's what I mean. It's like so what I'm saying is there was art that was black folks that had the money like that. There was art funded by white folks with black performers that absolutely showed all that black degradation, but the medium was different. It's a difference between a 2-hour movie and a 4-minute song, right? And so the accessibility, and it was not marketed to white America, right? But
and it wasn't marketed to our children.
I was because
and we were not picking up our children from school, playing it on the TV.
And
You know,
and
we
and,
pick up our
and,
children from
I'm gonna
school.
tell you the difference though. I'm gonna tell you, so I'm gonna put historical context to it, and I'm gonna tell you the difference too. Historically, the first form of, first of all, you're talking about enslaved Africans, right? When you mention white supremacy, you got to mention capitalism. When you mention capitalism, you got to mention white supremacy, right? The first form of popular music in America, the first form of pop culture in America was minstrel shows.
Facts.
Minstrel shows, minstrel shows, minstrel shows. The first form of freedom music was gospel music. That was made on the plantation. You know what I'm saying? The first right that African people had on plantation was the ability to sing. That's it. We allow you to sing. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And so
Absolutely.
it's so it's so wait. I'm gonna bring this all together, right? And so and so the first form of pop culture was minstrel shows, right? So the poor cracker rednecks, hillbillies, they could not afford to go to the Beethoven waltz ballets and operas, right? The ballets and operas, Beethoven looking cats who do the waltz, they wasn't coming to the barnyards, right? The first time poor white folks, poor black, rich white folks, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Free black folks, enslaved Africans or whatever, when they was all in the same room, was minstrel shows. So America has a 300-year obsession, a capitalistic obsession with exploiting African people for their talents and their labor for whites, for white consumption and white financial gain, right? So hip hop, hip hop, rap is different because rap literally went from we don't want record labels, we don't want this type of music, blah, 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 until all these white supremacist white folks made a shift to investing in private prisons in the early 90s. You know what I'm saying? Literally, what was it was it Let Me Ride? Dr. Dre literally says, no more black bees and medallions and straight gangster shit. Like this is the time when Death Row, is coming out, which is under which is being financed by the CIA, right? So there was a huge shift, right? And so what makes rap music, mainstream rap music specifically, right? What makes it so dangerous specifically is the founders of and the lovers of pure hip hop never had control of it. They never monetized it. They never was the business people. I think if Kool Herc was in Jimmy Iovine's position, or if Fab Five Freddy or whoever was in Leo Cohen's position, I think it would look a whole lot different, right? But it was always a white supremacist who monetized it, because in a capitalist society, this is what happens, right? And so I agree with you that rap has been allowed to go unchecked because it is another way to siphon talent and labor from African people and exploit it all across the world, right? And that's all I'm trying to say, right? And so for me, I absolutely, I hear music all the time, like taking my kids to school, and like, so I'm finally on the radio up here in Tulsa, right? I have a
Oh,
song
congratulations! I saw
called,
you posted that. Yeah, congratulations on that,
absolutely,
brother.
yes. Somebody tagged me, say play it today. But I have a song, Everything I Love, right? Which is the title track to my album, which is about me grieving the death of my father during the pandemic. The title track plays. The first song that plays after it is a song called PTOM. No, PTOPM. Put that pussy on me. Right? It's so like and this is in the morning time on my way to school. They play Chris Brown every morning, who is a documented woman beater every single morning, right? Now up here, medical marijuana, weed is pretty much legal, right? And so I remember all weed references when we was growing up getting bleeped out of radio
Bleeped
songs
out.
to where
Couldn't hear.
so to where they have now on the radio, all these dispensaries are buying ads and it's weed songs, right? And so what I'm saying is so black people
It's a
have the
war.
talent.
Yeah.
Black people have the talent. We have the gifts. We have the influence, but we don't control the institutions that make these a thing, right? And so it's like you turn the victims into villains and the victims into villains, right? And so like I said, for me, that like
Yeah. See, I hear you, but
and
then I'm from
I
New
just think you're putting
Orleans.
too much onus. I just think you're putting too much
I'm from New
onus
Orleans.
on the
Again, I
people,
got to
on
go
the
back to
people. That's
my
what I'm trying to
Cash
say.
Money reference. I got to go back to No Limit when they was local. I got to go back to Big Boy Records when there was no white man behind them making them make this type of music. I got to go to Jay-Z. I'm Michael Jordan. I play for the team I own. Who you see? So I go back to when Cash Money was selling 300,000 albums out the back of their trunk, basically, and there's no white man involved. Who made them make it then? Who made
The
PNC
same.
make? Who made PNC say, "Give me some heroin, baby. That heroin got me crazy. Give me some powder, please. That powder make me sneeze." I get so goddamn spoofed out. I go and grab my gun, shoot a little bit of heroin, and that shit makes everything so fun. That wasn't made by no major label. Them
No,
Negroes was in the
to me.
house uptown.
Listen to me, Doc. The exact same white supremacists who the exact same capitalistic white supremacist system that makes you sell drugs to provide for your family, to do something that's going to poison your people is the exact. So it's like
So
that's I mean
hold on,
yeah,
hold up.
absolutely,
Hold up.
absolutely.
So the glorification
Poverty,
of using
poverty.
heroin is the result of the conditions of the community, right? So they're saying heroin makes it fun, right? Because this
Right.
is something that they see in the community. Well, here's my thing. I work in the prisons. These young brothers go into prison and Big Sam bending them over at night, popping them up, tearing their behind up every night. With a rap song about that. With a rap song
I
about
heard you say
going.
that
When
other thing.
I work in the criminal justice system. I work in criminal court every day. Forensic counselor. I go in. I see a judge give out 30 years, like bam, like that, 30. And next thing you know, mama in the back, she not running out of nose. Somebody got to hold her up. What are rap songs about that? That's
I
good.
can't. I don't know.
No. I don't hear the rap songs about the police kicked in the door and took everybody to jail, and my mama can't she got to put her house up to make the bond, to make that bond money. No, so if we want to talk about the systemic issues in the community, well, let's talk about really what happened. Not that I got all the money and I got all the guns
Okay,
and all the finger guns.
I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. I don't know. At this point, you say you don't listen to rap much, right? So I don't know how much underground rap you consume. But wait, listen to me, Doc. Wait, Doc. You got videos and videos and videos. I want you to hear what I'm saying. So right now, listen, we have easier access to any type of content that you want to hear that we ever had before, with more artists making it, right? I think when you're a little bit older than me, right? So one critique I have of brothers of your generation, and I say this with love, is we depend on the exact same institutions and the exact same corporations that we claim ruin hip hop to give us what we need, while not highlighting. And I'm not even saying this because I'm an underground rapper. I'm saying this because I'm really in the culture. I'm not internet in the culture. I'm really about to go on a 20 city tour. Like I've been doing, you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm really in the culture. I really book these shows. I really book these artists. I really rock with them all, right? And so
I see
think
what you did
one major
for Baton Rouge hip hop. That's
I'm
right.
saying,
I got you.
right. So one major critique I have of brothers and your age range is, it's like, and I think this is what got a lot of people triggered. Like, and I'm not even the type of person, because I enjoy ignorant shit too. I do. I'm not gonna say I don't. And that absolutely comes from my conditioning to it. I can admit that to that, right? As an adult, I can admit I never heard my father call my mother out a name. But I absolutely had to do a whole lot of unlearning, because what I learned from Pimp C and Snoop Dogg. I can admit that too.
Facts.
And I'm willing to have a conversation all day, every day. But what I'm trying to say is so we understand, and we understand that that this is what This is what these white supremacists have done to our communities, and we've been complicit in it. We understand that this is what these white supremacists have done to our art, our images. Hip hop is not the #1 selling brand in the world, but it's the #1 brand in the world not because of the music that it sells, because of all the products that it sells. Period. And I ain't just talking about like Future can't say dirty Sprite in my styrofoam if Sprite don't say okay. Rose can't sell dope out of a Maybach if Ben don't say it's okay. Right? You're of the age of the early on TV Rhapsody videos when Nike had their stuff bleeped out on hats and tennis shoes, because Nike did not want to be. But now Gucci has Gucci Mane as a spokesperson, right? And so but there's much more powerful, influential things that make these decisions that let us go. Let me tell you one of the biggest signs of how bad capitalism and white supremacy is to me. Well, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. If you remember 4 or 5 years ago, Sister Named Dej Love got a song called Try Me. Try Me. And the song was a ballad about straight murdering black folks, right? But what she says was, I really hate niggas. I'm a Nazi.
Right. Now, she does say that.
There's some
say that.
Look, you a Muslim. I'm a black liberation theologist. I'll say that, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm a black liberation theologist. You know what I'm saying? James Cone, Albert Cleese, you feel me? And I'm saying this. How devilish.
Oh, he used the word now.
I'm here now. I'm here now, right? How evil do you have to be?
Yeah.
To be one of the Jewish execs. To be one of the Jewish execs. To let this black woman say, I really hate niggas, I'm a Nazi. Like that's how nasty capitalism is. That's how nasty white supremacy is, right? Now, if she would have said, I really hate Jews, I'm a Nazi, it wouldn't have flown. Right. But the fact that you let Nazi come out on the radio when you know you own these type of situations, like that's how devilish that we is. Dej Loaf doesn't have that power. Jay-Z ain't got that power. Hov ain't got that power.
I think that's where we diverge.
They absolutely don't.
I think they absolutely do have the power. I think they absolutely do have the power. She didn't have to write that lyric. She wrote that lyric. That's how she felt. So if the Jew boy is a devil, then what is she when she says she really hates N-words? That sentiment that made her write that. She got to be a demon too.
I'm not. I told you the song was as a lullaby about murder and death and mayhem.
Yeah, I'm not letting her off.
I'm not letting her off the hook. I'm not saying what she said ain't detestable. What I'm saying is, Doc, we don't hear that song if the white folks don't let it be a play. Because
I'm 100% with you. I'm the one who said.
Wait. This is what I want to say. The exact same record labels who don't want black empowerment, who don't. We can't say. I rap about black empowerment. I rap about black freedom. I gotta say, if I see a cracker Richard Spence, I'm a dropping, right? What I'm saying is, there's the exact same people who do not want me to say that. I'm me. There's certain things that I won't be allowed to say publicly because you can't make money off of that, and it's gonna hurt somebody's feelings. That same person lets it be okay. So we're both African Americans who come from the hood who say these things. White folks let a certain thing slide when there's something that they want to push or something that they can monetize. Black death has always been profitable since we've been on this thing since 1492. And so, listen, by no means I'm trying to let rappers slide.
But don't let them slide. That's all I'm saying. Don't let them slide.
I'm saying, but if we're going to examine rap, we have to examine the rap industry, who owns the rap industry. That's all I'm saying, Doc. We have to look at the history. We have to look at the U.S. intelligence agency.
We have to look at the that argument that you made is the same argument that Mama C. Dolores Tucker made in 1992 and 1993. She said, I'm going after Interscope for pushing these products on our children. And what did we allow Tupac to say? C. Dolores Tucker, use a motherfucker. We allowed that white boy Eminem to call her a bunch of bees and out of her name. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm the one who said that if black rappers rapped about killing white people or Jews or dogs or homosexuals, they would end rap tomorrow.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
understand that the record companies have a position. That was one of the first things I said in my argument, that the record companies have the position. The second part of that, though, because we've been hearing the same argument about the corporations, about the record companies and their control. All right. The second part is the rappers are the ones who are loading the pistol and handing it to the record companies.
Nah.
Yeah. They're writing the lyrics. Jimmy Iovine ain't writing those lyrics. Tommy Mottola ain't coming down there writing those lyrics. It is young black men in particular who are writing the songs, right? Who are writing the songs and turning them in, right? Yeah.
I think
they're loading the pistol and handing it
white supremacy. I think it's white supremacy who's making the guns and the bullets, Doc.
Listen,
I think this white supremacy that's created. We don't make the guns or the bullets. We don't.
No.
Listen,
here's what I'm saying. If our rappers were rapping about a social critique of what takes place in our community, it would not be glorification. If they were really rapping about, if they were really interested in an analytical examination of our community, we would hear about the prison industrial complex in the music. We would hear about the effects of drug use in the music and how it destroys families, how it destroys homes, how it ends up with people in jail, ends up with people in rehab, ends up with people dead. We would hear about the actual pain of losing somebody to the war on drugs, either by the police or the war over drugs in the streets. We would actually hear about that pain. We would hear about sleepless nights when you've lost a mother or a father to street crime or a friend to street crime. We would hear about these things. We would hear about how hard those handcuffs feel and how cold that steel feels when they put your arms behind your back, how your heart begins to tremor, tremor when they say you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say, we would really hear about that. That's not what we hear in the music. What we hear is glorification. What we hear is
specify what you're talking about, Doc. Because every single thing you've mentioned has been mentioned in hip hop before. Yeah. Everything you've mentioned has been mentioned in hip hop before.
Yeah.
You have to specify
to your point. Wait.
You have to specify what it's coming from. It's coming from this mainstream corporate conglomerate white supremacist system. You have to specify.
I made the point, and brother Marcel, I made the point that from the beginning, we will say it's not all rappers. I said, well, I'm on here with a rapper who doesn't. So obviously I know that. But the market share, the lion's share of the market is controlled by these drill rappers, these trap rappers, and gangster rappers. You say, well, we have access to anybody. The point is we don't have to go and mine these drill rappers and gangster rappers. They're there on the radio. They're getting 6 million views on YouTube, and our babies can see that, right? So maybe you want to blame it on the algorithm and all that, but we don't have to mind so I have to now go and search out a good rapper. Right, I now have to go out and search out a positive rapper, right? But the masses of my people are being exposed to this devilish music, and listen. I really don't have much patience for these rappers, right? Because I got babies, and my babies got friends, and they at school listening to this music, and it's affecting their brains and their minds. While I'm worried about white supremacy, I am telling you these rappers are agents for white supremacy, so they have to be considered enemies of the people. It's no other way. It's no other way. Those who sell the Judas and the Black Messiah, the Negro who sold out Fred Hampton, can't be seen as a partner. He was an enemy to the people. Anytime you're being used by our ops, you become an enemy. So I'm with you. They are being used by white supremacy, and I'm saying that they ops.
Listen. I literally have a song called "Conscious Rap for Gang Members." I say, you ain't a gangster, you the motherfucker ops. If you're down to kill the people but afraid to bust the cops. So this is what I'm saying. I am a 20-year youth development worker. You understand what I'm saying? This summer, I started when I was 18 years old, working with young people. My father was a juvenile probation officer. My mother was a social worker. 20-year youth development worker. Just like you put your time in, you got your PhD, you in the prisons. I'm not going to tell you nothing about the research you've done in the prisons, but what I'm telling you is, as a 20-year youth development worker, what I'm saying is, I agree, I understand what you're talking about and the influence that this music has on our babies. The conditions create these type of situations. The victims turn villain, the villains turn victims, and the villains, whatever. The system turns victims into villains. You know what I'm saying? It's a rap song, I should know it. But what I'm saying is this: it's like, so, but I just think that for me personally, what we defer is, you put more onus on the artists. I put more. I'm not letting the artist slide. What I'm saying is, it may be we just have two different. You know, it was. I look at the struggle. It's not boxing. It's not taekwondo. It's mixed martial arts, right? It's mixed martial arts. It could be all these type of different things, right? Everybody look a little different, right? So your focus is obvious. For me, my activism has always been with young people, because they are the ones who are, what they say is it's better to raise innocent children than try to fix broken men or whatever.
And so raise strong children and try to repair broken men. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. I'm missing all my folks up. But the point I'm trying to make is this, that I think for me, what I'm missing for is I want to hear the other part of Examine Rap when we really go to task. Because this thing about it, bro. This thing about it. There is a chicken and the egg. There is a chicken and the egg situation. White supremacy in the system came first, and we absolutely we into the type of situation. But at the same time, if we never rap about this stuff again, the condition's still gonna be there, because that's what white supremacy and capitalism is, right? So for me, I've always used. I'm a son of a gospel musician. I'm a son of a gospel musician. And so I have a song called Hip Hop is a Weapon. You know what I'm saying? Can you tell me what you're aiming for? You try to free the people, or you blood sucking from the poor. So I understand the critiques of the music or whatever, right? But the song is less about, I have a song called What They Do, right? But the song, my personal critique is less about how rappers are messing up or whatever. And I'm just going back to Bill Clinton signing the Telecommunications Act, which changed everything, which allowed radio stations to have monopolies. And so now you're hearing less local music, and all the top 40 music is all the exact same thing. It's right. I guess what I'm trying to say is that white supremacy as definitely a mindset and a social construct is a part of it, but a literal system that you know what I'm saying is against. All right, so look, I do have one more question.
Before you ask that question, let me say this. You said that if the music goes away, the conditions will still be there. Absolutely. But then we have to go to the research, and what the research tells us is that the music increases aggression, it increases violent thoughts, and it increases the let's say propensity for violence, right? The acceptance of violence, and then the violence against women. So there's a market increase when this music is being consumed on a daily basis. So even if the conditions are still there, the music makes it worse.
Yes. So I'm not the person who says hip hop saved my life, but hip hop saved my life, it changed everything about me. But it then turn around to say this music doesn't affect me. It absolutely does. When Outchea comes on, I'm gonna do the Bankhead bounce. When Nothing But a Gene comes on, I'm gonna do the Crip Walk. With Lil Jon, yes. So by no means, yes, I agree with you. I remember the worst rap. Ironically, I ain't gonna say that because I ain't trying to be messy. But yes, I agree with you. We need to examine rap, and I guess on my end, I'm gonna examine the music industry. But I want to ask you one more question.
Go ahead, brother.
Before. You're a 43-year-old brother, intelligent brother. Hip hop guy from back in the late 80s, early 90s, boom, a father and a husband. So you're older, so I understand you're not going out. I want to ask you, and I want to ask you this. Why don't people who want more positive, conscious, whatever uplifting music, or people who, or or I guess you could say conscious, educated folk, you know what I'm saying, or people, or just lovers of who just love hip hop. Why don't Black folk support that music more?
I think there's two answers to that. For me, at 43 years old, um, even if I were, I'm not listening to a whole lot of new rap unless I'm doing it to examine rap, right? So when I get that feeling, I want to hear some positive rap, I go and throw on Arrested Development, which I want to make this point very briefly, and I'll be kind of succinct about it. In 1992, there were two albums that were dropped. Arrested Development, 3 years, 5 months, and 2 days, and Dr. Dre's The Chronic. Each dropped 3 singles off of the album. A year after the albums were released, Arrested Development had gone 4 times platinum, and The Chronic had gone 3 times platinum. Now, The Chronic has gone on to go about 5 times platinum now, but still, a year later, Arrested Development was already 4 times platinum. So at one point, there was this great appetite for an alternative to gangster rap. So this is to your point. The corporations even passed up on profits, because if you look at which album was more profitable, which album sold more, Arrested Development has sold 1 million more copies, but they saw something in The Chronic and using that music to weaponize, right? To weaponize against us. Now, for me, you ask, well, what do I do when I want to hear something, kind of uplifting or something maybe thought provoking? I may go put on some old Dungeon Family, right? I may go find me some good. So we're gonna, for old cats, we're gonna go and find the music that's going to scratch that itch for us, that's going to give us that conscious sound or whatever we want to hear. So we're not really going to go and look for a new rapper to, it's kind of hard, like to, and one of my things, I made fun of folks for still having favorite rappers at 43 and 45 and 46 years old. It's like, I got music that I listen to, but I don't have any favorites. I mean, I think I'm too old to be having a favorite rapper, but I mean, that just may just be my own personal opinion and my own egocentricity. However, I think what we do is we go and look for the music that we already know will, again, scratch that itch, satisfy our desire for this certain music. So it's not that we don't want to support it. And the second part of that question, and I think Dr. Michael Eric Dyson made a very valid point to this, and this is not pertaining to your music, but to some of the conscious music in general. Sometimes it's just not entertaining. And some of the conscious rappers are just not as sweet with their pen. And I think somebody on your thread earlier today made that point about the Magoo song, right? They said it's not just about it's about the mechanics of rap and how you can ride a beat and the creativity of using words or whatever have you, even if what you're using the words for are vulgar, explicit, and dangerous and detrimental to our community. Sometimes the what they call the conscious rappers, these new any old, new or old, are just not as nice with the pen. They're not as sonically pleasing as maybe some of the older conscious music or whatever have you. So I think that's the reason why a lot of people are not going to go and mine new music. But then you have some phenomenal rappers. You have your Tobys, right? I don't even know how to pronounce the African brother from
Tobin Wigway.
in Wigway, right? I didn't want to mess up his name. I'm glad you said it, and I just followed after you. But you find these brothers, right? And I look at him as an example, like, look how he's creative. He has his hood, right? He has that hood aesthetic, that hood sound, yet he's creative, yet he's introspective, he's analytical, he's not praising money, he's not praising violence, he's loving his wife, he has his babies in the video, he's entertaining, he's engaging, he's intelligent, he's making phenomenal music. Here is an example, right? Here is an example to follow. So when we say, now, my point is this: Toby has 4 and 5 million views on YouTube, right? So to your point that the record companies are controlling, well, why they didn't take Toby out? Why they haven't
I mean,
stopped his music and his
because
movement?
because he decided not to go that way. That's the reason why.
Right, because he's not dealing with him.
Because
So
the moment he gets into that,
can these other rappers not go the same route? We, from what I hear, and I'm not in the music business is dead anyway. You don't really need these labels. You can make a song, a video, and put that on YouTube and Spotify tonight, right? Put it out on these streaming platforms tonight. So, uh, so the excuse that it's the labels, then we have a person who said, I ain't go with the labels. You have this is other boy, um, oh man, Russ. I think his name is Russ. I think he's an Arab or something. You know, he's not a black, Italian, right? I think this brother making millions off a straight independent YouTube super duper star, right? So I'm not saying his music is the best. So let me back up from that. What I'm saying is he doesn't have a label. He doesn't have anyone in his back controlling him. So
he's partnered with a major.
Oh, okay, okay. And then we look at people like Soulja Boy. I don't know if Soulja Boy has partnered with a major label now, but we know that when Soulja Boy came out, he was a YouTube star. He was like the first YouTube dude to blow up, right? So what I'm saying is there are ways that these rappers don't have to deal with these companies, but even when they're not dealing with the companies, they're still producing the same sound, the same, and aside from all the white supremacy, I mean, aren't we just tired of the same subject matter? Right? Aren't we just tired of just hearing violence and guns and drugs? And I got more money than you. I got better looking women than you. And I mean, if you go and listen to the top 10 country songs, man, and I did this, man, a lot of the songs about love. I heard a song about a truck.
I agree. Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Like
I'm
the
more
subject
humble,
matter,
dog.
man. Let me tell you something. You know, you know, I know you had a very close relationship with your father, right? I got a close relationship with my dad. I'm named after my dad, and my son is named after me. So it's three of us. There's a song by Conway Twitty called "That's My Job." Right? It's a country song. Conway Twitty probably was a racist redneck. I don't know. But the song is beautiful. It's about a young boy and his relationship with his dad, and his dad protecting him when he's scared at night. And the dad says, that's my job. That's what I do. And then he's a teenager, young man, 21, 22, decides he wants to go out on his own, go head west to LA. And he ran out of money, and daddy came and got him. He said, that's my job. That's what I do. And then when daddy died, you know, he mourned his father. And then the last verse, he's just saying, you know, his father would remind him that's his job. That's what he do. Like he's still. So look how beautiful that's. If you hear it, it is just if you can take away the sonic sounds of rap from our brains and just listen to what this man is saying about his father, it is beautiful. It is beautiful and it's touching, right? That it's so much other stuff that we could rap about. It's so many other ways that we could sing about. Even our R&B music is so hypersexual. Marvin Gaye sang "Let's Get It On" and "What's Going On," right? Curtis Mayfield, you gotta keep on pushing, right? So there's other topics and other narratives that we can create. Aren't we just tired? No, we can talk about the destruction. We beat that horse dead for the last hour and 45 minutes, but just talk about, aren't we, is there any more, is there anything else we can talk about?
Man, look, so listen. Because I'm in the culture, because I'm a hip hop educator, I'm a hip hop scholar, because I literally teach kids how to rap, because I've said on panels about it, I don't look at hip hop as limiting. I look at it as limitless. And every single thing that you mentioned has been spoken in hip hop. I think the difference is, now you know this, man. Like you said you lived in the suburb of New Orleans. How much work you had to do to go to Peaches to get that CD or Tupac? It's a million times easier that's what I'm saying. It's a million times easier to access the type of music that you want to hear than ever before. Just like I sent you a link, you said I got it, and we started talking, right? It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? So I think that as me as I call myself like I ain't Unc yet. I'm big cousin, right? But like because a lot of my time working with Baton Rouge rappers that was like 10 to 15 years younger than me, and I never shamed them. They rapped over vocals, I shamed them, right? But like what I did was I taught them to appreciate the culture. And I don't think that we as older gentlemen from this culture, I think there's a generation of people who did not do the best job of like really passing that culture down, right? Because I'm a youth development worker, I work with teenagers, and so I'm so I don't like none of it, right? I can't just spin the block, smoke on the house pack. But what I'm saying is I'm outside with them, and so I can hit them to some dope stuff and explain like the cultural origins and why we do it like this or whatever, and it opens up their minds, what have you, right? And so for me, it's like it kind of like when you say I don't really listen to a whole bunch of rap, but what you talk about is what you complaining about is the new rap from like the new young rappers or whatever. Like 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 old guys or people my age or whatever, people of every age range are consistently dropping music on the same title. You can listen to Rick Ross song, you can listen to Coast Contra on, right? Or Sky Zoo on, right? Whatever. And so that's a common denominator when I hear people talking about new rap, that it's synonymous with the young mainstream rap, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I can tell you, as a touring artist, as a just as a touring artist, 90% of my fan base is white, even when I'm rapping about the revolution.
Yeah.
Even, you know what I'm saying? Even when I'm rapping about the revolution.
Can I jump in? Because
Sure.
I don't just have a critique of new rappers. I think Biggie was a demon. I think Jay-Z is a demon. I think Pimp C is a demon. I think Boosie is a demon. I think T.I. is a demon. I think all of those rappers who are considered 20 years vets in the game. Yeah, I think they all are agents of white supremacy. So I don't, yeah. It's not just the new rappers. The new rappers ain't doing nothing but following what the old rappers laid out. When Pimp C rapping about rape, yeah, I think he's a demon. Yeah, I used to be a big old fan. I'm wearing polo because Pimp C said wear polo, but he said, I'm looking at rape, I'm looking at kidnap. Yeah, he's talking about rape.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. You're
so
right. He absolutely did. No,
yeah, yeah.
no, you're
So
right. So
so
I
so
guess
so
I
when
guess I meant
Ti
that
no
more.
no let me say, like, when Ti says, I put D in your daddy daughter and dare to have children. I'm a killer in Mississippi and drive ass to Missouri. Yeah, I think
Right,
he a
right, right, right,
demon.
right.
Yeah, I think he a
And so, and
demon.
so,
Yeah,
and so,
yeah. I don't.
so
I think when Biggie, I mean when Jay-Z makes songs called Lucifer and D Evils, where he is glorifying selling drugs and killing. Yeah, I think that is. I'm maybe it's my church sensibilities. We started off this conversation. Now I said I used to go to church 3, 4 times on a Sunday, but when I hear that now as a grown man,
right,
all
right,
I
right,
hear
right.
is all the a demon is just the child of the devil. That's all, right? Children, demons are children of the devil, right? So when I hear that, that's all I hear. I don't hear anything that's socially redeeming. I don't hear anything that's making me feel good about myself. That's making me feel good about my family, my community. I hear something that is demonic. I hear a spirit. Let me tell you about the spiritual stuff, and I really do have to go. But this
Guys, for sure, for
music,
sure.
we talk about growing up in the church, right? I'm gonna tell you two ideas of spirit possession. I've seen people in the church hear a song, man, and just start crying and feeling a certain. I've been there. I've been the big. I've gone into a church before I became Muslim and was feeling a certain way and heard a song, man, and I'm going through something. Tears just coming down my eyes, and there was this certain Dr. Cornell West describes it as a kenosis, this emptying out that takes place, this purging that takes place through that music to make me feel a certain way. A spirit came over me that made me feel a certain way. I was in a bar on Tulane Avenue, owned by my partner BB, God bless the dead. And everybody was chilling. They was playing rap music and everybody was chilling. And then they played Throw your sets up, Juvenile, 400. Throw your sets up, throw your sets up, throw your hood up. You know that song?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they played that, and a spirit took over the whole place. They was in there fighting within however long, if the song 4 minutes long, it only took them a minute and a half to start fighting. That's spirit possession. Yeah, if we recognize spirit possession in the church and a song can make you feel a certain way and react a certain way and catch the Holy Ghost in church, well, when a song make you start fighting, you can just call it a demon. When it make you start attacking your brother, you just call it a demon. And that's just theological talk, right? Black liberation theology. Yeah, that's theology talk. That's you call it a demon when it make you fight. When they sitting in their cars, as I said this on the thing, when they getting ready to go smoke Tuka, right? Ain't that what King Von said? Ain't he dead? Right? But when they getting ready to go smoke Tuka, go kill somebody, they sitting there, they smoking, they popping pills and they drinking. You think they listening to Freddie Jackson? Who you think they listening to? You think they listening to Luther? Who is providing the soundtrack for them to go and commit murder?
Yeah, the scope.
And that's what bothers me. That's what bothers me. So yeah, that's why I'm saying these people are demons, man. I don't want them anywhere in my community. I don't until they're able to redeem themselves. At this point, right now, they ops. Yeah, that's the only way I could see them. As I think we were taught we gotta love our people, and I don't believe that. Yeah, I don't believe in loving my enemy. I left that in the church. I don't believe in loving my enemy at all. No. So when I see my enemy, I approach them and treat them as such. Right now, if they choose to redeem themselves and change their life, yeah, we got Allah's most forgiving. And we have to be most forgiving. But that whole idea of loving these people, when I see what they're doing to our community, when I see that spirit that they create that music in is in the same people who are locked up in the jails that I gotta go see, and I'm sitting on the phone with them and they crying and snotting out their nose because they scared to death because they know they're facing 40 years or they facing life. Yeah, I don't see them people as our people. I don't see them people as nobody that I want in my community or in our village. I see them as detrimental to the village, and we gotta excommunicate them until they get themselves together and come back humbly and say we were wrong. We are sorry. We won't make music like that anymore. We won't be ops for white supremacy anymore. We are sorry, Mama C. Dolores Tucker. You was only trying to tell us right, because that's what my mama was telling me. Boy, that music crazy. Turn that off. I remember when my mama heard "Give Me Some Heroin," but you better turn a church going woman. She said, "You better turn that shit off." Yeah, because that's what a mom is supposed to do. That's what daddy is supposed to do. Yeah, daddy says you can't play that in the car. My mom and daddy's in their 80s. My mom and daddy are in their 80s. I wouldn't dare sit in the car with no rap music on in front of them. And I wouldn't play it in front of my children. So then I got to ask myself, well, if I won't play it in front of my child and I won't play it in front of my mama, why am I listening to it? What is it about this music that makes me want to pay attention? But you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right, my brother, that there are a lot of rappers that are not talking about this. But again, that's not the one our children are exposed to. And so until we deal with
But you got
that,
exposed. But I'm saying so. What I'm saying
I
is,
don't want to
guys,
expose my children none of this rap music. No, I don't want to expose none of that rap music.
okay.
I
All right.
want,
Well, look,
yeah,
look.
yeah, yeah.
I ain't even
And
telling
that's not
nobody to do
my
with their
culture.
kids.
And you had said that earlier. That's not my culture. I come from black people that wouldn't dare do nothing like that. Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
don't
saying
come
no,
from, I
no.
come
So
from
no.
black
So
folks who was
I get. So
marching for civil rights. I come from black people who was Panthers and who was in the Desire housing projects fighting the police. I don't come from nothing like this. That ain't my culture. That is a subculture that is being weaponized against our people. Right? Right? That is not who we are. That is not who we are. I think CeeLo said it best. We are not natural born killers. We are a spiritual people. I think CeeLo said that best. But no, I don't want my children to listen to any rap right now. Right. So when I tell my son about what I can't control him, he's 12 now. So if he's at school listening to it, but when you come home, you listening to music that's gonna uplift you, that's gonna make you feel good. Then you don't need to listen to music all day. You need to be reading something, studying something, learning something. Let me let you listen to this Cornell West and let's talk about what kenosis means and emptying out. Let's understand what Dr. James Cone is talking about when he talks about the lynching tree. That's the type of learning and teaching I'm trying to give my children. I don't want them to hear anything about music, or I mean anything about money and cars, because and clothes and drugs. I don't want them to, not right now. There's enough time for the world to corrupt them later. I'm trying to hold on to the innocence of my babies. I'm trying to hold on to it. I'm sickened and saddened when I go to their schools and I'm picking them up and I see a woman driving in the car and she listening to Meg Thee Stallion with her baby in the back seat. That breaks my heart. That breaks my heart, man. That baby's losing his innocence at 5 and 6 years old. Hey, why are you doing that to your babies? Yeah, so no, I don't want to listen to rap music, man. Let them listen to some love song, man. Put that Conway Twitter, whatever his name is, singing about his daddy. That's what I want him to listen to, brother. I gotta go.
Well, look. We can absolutely. First of all, I love talking to you.
Man, I love talking to you.
I wish. I hate that I moved all the way to Tulsa. Now we're having these conversations. I wish we would have known each other 10 years ago. I'd have came to New Orleans kicking with you all the time. You're one of my favorite people to talk to. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't talk much, but I always thoroughly enjoy conversations. This is, man, look, it's so much, but you're right. We've been here for 2 hours. This is Doc Asad, man. Lionel King. You see the PhD by his name. He's, look, if you're looking for him on Facebook, just do the hashtag Examine Rap. I done gave you an alley-oop to have a whole new podcast series.
You know, I'm gonna do it, bro. I'll only do it.
And you better invite me on.
If you do it with me.
You better invite me on.
Yeah, no, I'll only do it if you do it with me. Do it with me to get me started the first couple of shows. You ain't got to, if you don't want to be there, if you can't commit to the whole time, just do it with me to do the first 3 shows. And if you say yes, we'll get it popping.
Let's get it popping. All right, y'all. This is Dr. Side, Really Out Your Podcast. Thank you, man. Great conversation. We definitely gonna finish this another time. Allah Mahabe, freedom.
Peace.